Yes, Anna. So we can discuss about now the interview process, and you can, if you remember the things which happened in the like the questions which were asked actually in the interview rounds. So if you could tell us about those things, the number of rounds and the description of each round.
Okay, so for the interview, there were only two rounds. It was supposed to be the first round was supposed to be technical, and second round was supposed to be HR. But as far as my interview went, both were HR only because I never felt they asked something technical to me. Because of course the interview started with the typical tell me about yourself, and then I actually tried in my tell me about yourself itself. I tried to bring up the Python course and machine learning courses which I had done because I wanted them to talk and like ask questions on that because I was prepared and pretty confident with that. But they were not at all interested. But as the IQVIA is actually concerned and they are actually looking for people with good interpersonal skills, communication skills, and the people who can take up like additional responsibilities and who are capable of multitasking. They are not looking for some students who are damn good at coding or something like that. They are not looking for those kind of students. So, yeah. So the questions were mostly HR only for in both the interview rounds.
Okay, okay, yeah. So, so the first round, do you remember any particular question like in the first round?
And they asked me like I don't have you like they asked me you don't have any medical background because basically what they are dealing with is the medical data or health sector data. So they were asking me you don't have that kind of background and you don't have a statistics or analytics background and you are a civil engineer and now you're specializing in transport, then why should we hire you? So that was a key question. So and also they asked me like yeah, how did your POR, position of responsibility, help you grow as a person? And of course, they asked me like, what did you learn during this lockdown period? That was a nice question because I started answering like I learned the Python, I learned the R and all. But then they said no, no, no. We are not asking for academically. We are not asking for that thing in life. What life lessons you had learned? That's what they're looking for. So that those kind of questions they asked.
So the first round was mainly about yourself, and then the means the normal questions. They were eager to
Yes.
know more about you as a person. And
Yes.
so how the length of this round was? How many minutes?
Both the interviews went hardly 10 minutes. So like within 20 minutes, both rounds were like over.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think it was.
Unlike other analytical, like other companies' interviews, yeah, this went. It was really short.
Because in case of short interviews, personally, I believe that it becomes tricky or at least difficult to impress the interviewer.
Yes.
Because if in those 10 minutes there was some question I could not answer, so then I might feel nervous. But if I have a longer duration, then I can try more and more to impress them.
Because here there was nothing much technical, so even the 10 minutes interview was enough for them. As far as I remember, the only few technical things they have asked were like they were asking about Excel skills, because even in the chat they had mentioned the first point was proficiency in Microsoft, like Excel, PowerPoint, and everything. They were mainly focusing on Excel technically, so they were asking me what all things you know in Excel. So I was pretty confident with that because have always been using Excel for my the courses and other projects as well. So I was pretty confident I could speak on it. And then they asked me something related to statistics, and of course they asked me some medical terms. Then I had to say I'm not well aware of this at this point of time, but of course I can learn that.
So regarding Excel, how did you learn Excel? Means did you take any course or how did you get the hang of Excel actually?
The thing is, I even from my undergrads itself, I had started using Excel for developing the graphs, some charts and all. But when I came to the first semester in IIT Bombay, I had a course, transport planning course. So there we have data and we used to develop regression equations. So I used Excel for making regression models, And then later I understood that Excel is not just about simple arithmetics and simple regression. It has a lot more potential. So I started exploring. I started learning what exactly is a pivot chart, dynamic, like interactive charts, and also I learned Excel VBA, Visual Basic things in Excel. All those things I learned, so I was pretty confident with that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's true that my means I also during my school days, or at least I think in the maybe in the first year itself of my BTech, I was somehow thinking that Excel is only about creating a table, writing some rows and columns, and then we are done. Later I thought that okay, then we can also find the sum, average, max, mean. But now I know that no, it was not even 1% of Excel. It was
Yeah.
it just a very basic. We are not even scratching the surface. So
Yes.
really, but you know, I think we have discussed this before as well that in case of like Excel, sometimes it becomes easier for the person who are not compatible with coding mainly because in case of Python and R, we have to write some scripts and then we write some commands to get something done. But in case of Excel, we just need to click certain by menu, some task bars, and then our job is done. But yeah, definitely, Excel
But
has.
there is the constraint, yeah, because when it comes to Excel, of course, it's easy because there are already like defined tools and options for functions inside Excel, built-in functions. But at the same time, there is also options using VBA. We can create our own functions and use it. That's another option. There we can we can write scripts. But the constraint with Excel is when it comes to big data, then Excel may not be able to handle it. At that point, we have to switch to these kind of modern tools. Yeah, that's the only issue with Excel.
Okay, big data means how big? I mean, the limitation is.
Yeah, the limitation is like 14 lakh rows. Excel can deal only that much data. More than that, that is 1.4 million data rows of data. Beyond that, Excel won't be able to like handle. And I think as far as the columns are concerned, I'm not exactly sure, but I think approximately 16,000 columns of data. So this is the boundary the Excel can handle. Yeah. Beyond that, we have to go to some
Yes,
other.
I think you had also mentioned at some point of time that you have worked on such data before on some of your
Yes.
competition maybe.
Yeah, because I had participated in a travel demand modeling competition, which was conducted back in October by University of Tokyo, Japan. So they actually sent us a big travel data. So once it's actually the origin destination data of people traveling in the cities of Tokyo and Osaka. So, like then at that point I realized that it was the Excel can handle only up to 14 lakh rows. Then because when I opened that data in Excel, I could see up to 14 lakh rows only. But when I processed it using Python, the actual size was even
That question,
big. Yeah.
yeah. Okay, I was not aware of this that Excel has this limitation of handling this much of rows and columns only. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, but again, another thing which always comes to my mind that for at least for basic things, for example, if I want to draw a pie chart or maybe a bar chart, so then I can do that thing by simply clicking here and click on a few things in Excel. But then
Yeah.
why do we do those things in Python or R maybe? Means what is the use of drawing some basic charts in Python?
When it comes to basic side, of course, Excel does the purpose. But when it comes to when we use R and Python, we can make it more interactive. We have libraries for each and everything that we can imagine, and there is the simple chart building. There is like libraries. There are libraries for like enhancing the aesthetics of these charts. So we have enough libraries, and we have like a lot more potential there.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I can also recall that there are n number of, of libraries in Python and R. Like in R, you have ggplot2, you have dplyr, and other operators are definitely are there. I know only these two.
Like
In Python,
Cburn, for example, when it comes to aesthetics, we can use Cburn in Python, and we can create heat maps and all those kind of things.
yeah. So if you are aware of the libraries, your job is quite easy. And if you
Yeah.
have proficient in scripting, then of course your job is almost done. So yes, definitely. So I think we have discussed about the number of rounds which happened, and in your case, the interview did not last for long. Maybe they were already impressed with your resume. So and 10 minutes or 15 minutes each. There are two rounds of 15 minutes each. So I guess somehow after the test, the test scores and the resume, they had somehow made up their mind.
Yeah, even I assume that the technical part they have made up their mind with this resume and as well as this test. So they actually conducted the interview. This is what I feel. They actually conducted the interview to get to know a little bit more about a candidate as a person. So yeah, that was just an addition.
Yeah, yeah. So in that case, the resume have played a very important role,
True.
because that was something which they were screening before shortlisting the people. So
True.
if you have spent substantial amount of time drafting your resume, so of course that will be very eye catching and appealing. So
True.
people should definitely spend time on their resume. And like you
True.
have already mentioned that aptitude test and all this, they should consistently work on increasing their accuracy and speed.
True.
So okay, so in case of at any point of time during the placement season, since you got placed in the very early days of the placements, and we know that this time placement season was quite, it was somewhat not like other years. So means and we had also this online mode for the very first time, the online mode. And I guess you are a TS, you are of 2 years master, so you have not have seen the offline mode, right?
Yeah.
You,
True.
yeah, you have not seen. So, how do you feel that? What there are any challenges in this online mode, or any issues with, or any pros and cons with this online mode of interview? Or
Yeah, I have heard from my seniors that they have to run a lot here and there for writing the test, then giving the interview and all those things. And when it comes to our placement experience, it was we were sitting at our rooms at our home, and when we talk about that part, it was pretty like comfortable for us. But because luckily I had good internet connectivity and also that things were all good at my end, that's maybe because of maybe that's why I'm feeling okay with this online mode of interview. But of course, there are many students out there who might have experienced a lot more issues. And when it comes to this experience with this online mode, the things were pretty good at my end, but only one experience I had was like during one test. I don't remember the name of the company. One test, there were actually two rounds. After one round, the second round should actually pop up. That window should actually pop up, but it didn't happen in my case. So I was thinking like I'm done with the test. So I just exit the page, and then like little later I realized that my friends are actually continuing with the test, and I was like, oh, no. Then I had to like a placement like team was actually maintaining two kind of forms for Google Forms for each kind of test. They put up these two forms in the blog. So the first form is for entering our queries and our issues, and the second form will actually fetch us the responses from the company end or organization's end. So I had to put up my query, and they gave me another login ID, and then I had to restart and reattempt my test from the round one. So that's just an experience. Other than that, things went really well. Yeah.
yeah, Shana. So I guess then we have covered almost all the things. One last thing is that at any point of time during your interview or in your placement season, you felt that this is the area which I had not prepared actually, and I should have prepared, or I should have done better in this area at least. So something felt like that at any point of time.
Because as I was saying initially, non-core placements like was a backup for me. But later I realized that I have interest and I started preparing really well for non-core. But at the same time, for I was sure that if a core company appears, I'll be able to do pretty well because I had that confidence because I was doing my projects well, and I was like pretty confident with the my like gauge syllabus of transport, and also I was pretty okay with the core even if I was not preparing well, but still I was confident, and but and parallelly I was preparing well for non-core. But inside the non-core, my friends were actually preparing for finance, and some were actually preparing for hardcore coding companies. But I was not preparing for either finance or nor this coding sector. I was just preparing for analytics, and yeah, I either wanted to be a business analyst or a data analyst. I wanted these kind of profiles only. So I was so specific, so I didn't prepare anything else other than this.
Okay. Okay, so any advice for your upcoming students who will be sitting for placements in this in now 2021 2022 season?
I don't think I'm in a position to give advice or something because I just have a very little experience. It was my first interview for IQVIA, and luckily I got placed. So I'm not giving it. I'm not in a position to give advice. But I will say that for those people who are appearing for the placements 2021, they have enough time. It's just January. They have a lot of time to prepare, so they can actually decide. And I would say never think like I just want core or I just want non-core. I think there should be a backup always, and there should be some kind of preparation going on both ends. That's a very little suggestion from my part. And other than this, I would say like interview is just a short duration thing, and we should be able to impress that person to stand out. Because when it comes to EQVIA, there were 60 students appeared for the interview, and after this interview, once they start processing whom should we hire or whom should we select, then that impact, if you want to stand out, if you want to get hired, that 10 minutes or 20 minutes of interview of yours should stand out. So I would say try to think about the things which you can do to impress the interviewer. The one kind of thing which I could do is what I would say is never miss out an opportunity to ask question to an interviewer, because definitely at the end of an interview, in most cases they will ask you, do you have any question for us? At that point, if you say no, it actually creates a very negative impression. And I would say just grab that opportunity and ask something which will actually trigger them to speak a lot. It should excite the interviewer, and I could I actually asked them how your initial days at QBA went. So it was a lady sitting like opposite. So she actually got excited. She started talking a lot. Even my interview was already a short one, 10 minutes one. The last 3 minutes she was actually speaking. She was talking about her experiences and all. So I would say like interview should begin and end at a high note. So yeah, at that these points you should impress the interviewer. That's just a small suggestions which I like experienced from myself, my own experience.
Yeah, very strong point. We always miss whatever we learn from our experiences. That should serve as a lesson for the upcoming students. And it's always good to listen to our seniors and who have been in that position already. Yeah, definitely. I
And
guess.
I would say it's okay to say no if you don't know the answer for something, because even they asked me some medical terms, but I was not well aware of it. So I said I don't know, but I can learn. So we like it's okay to say no and be modest,
Yeah, you have to show the motivation or the willingness that I can learn, even though I am not knowing this right now, but I can learn definitely.
True.
And that also reminds me one very strong point, or that people say that a company mainly looks that that person can be trained or not, or
Exactly.
that person has a willingness to learn, because the rest of the things he or she can be trained. It's just that they should have the right attitude to learn towards anything. And in company or while working, we might be having some new situations, and how do we adapt to those things? That really matters.
True.
So I guess we have covered all the things which happened during your recruitment process, and uh, thank you once again for sharing all of your experiences which we have seen in this placement season. And I really hope that this will help the upcoming students. Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you very much. Thank you for taking out time for recording your experience with us.
Thank you so much for like inviting me, for giving me this opportunity to speak. I know I don't have enough experience or enough advice to give to the students, but whatever I have, I got this opportunity to share, and I'm very, very grateful for that.
Definitely, it will be helpful for a lot of students in the upcoming days. Thank you, Shana.
Thank you so much.